Now let's move to the third spreadsheet. Let's have a look at this. We call it opportunity set. So on your literature or on your book, you have looked there is the opportunity set. What's that meaning? So for this, for example, for this 30 stocks, you give any weight for this 30 stock, but the total weight for this 30 stock should equal to 1, and you will get 1 point for that portfolio, and you can have your portfolio risk and portfolio expected return. And if you give any combination for this 30 stocks, definitely you will have a different point on this graph, and we will get our opportunity set. So all this point is the any company's composition between different stocks you can invest. So that we call the opportunity set. So how can we got this opportunity set, or how can we draw this one? And the first part, I have already copied all the variance covariance matrix in the previous worksheet. So that's the variance covariance matrix here. And for the top line, we have the average return. For that's the average return for each individual stocks. Okay, so all the data we have, the first we need to remember, that's the equation. How can we calculate this portfolio expected return and portfolio risk? And if you give any combination between these 30 stocks, so which means you give any weight for each individual stock, W1 until Wn, you will get 1 portfolio expected return. So here we need to using computer to simulate the weight for stock 1 to stock 30, and the total weight, sum of the total weight should equal to 1. So give you different combination, we have different point here. So now let me show you how can we using computer to simulate the different weight. And the first one, we need to use the function called the rand function. So you can type equal rand. So this rand function will give you any number between 0 and 1. It is based on computer. So when you do it, follow me, and your result will definitely different from mine, because different computer will run the different result here. So you can type bracket. So we use the rand bracket and close your bracket, and then you press enter. So it will show you any number between 0 and 1. And after that, you can put your mouse to the right corner and drag to the right. So we will get all these 30 stocks, the weight. And here, so this is not weight. This is just the number between 0 and 1. How can we calculate this weight? So calculate this weight is quite easy. We just use this random number over the sum of all these numbers, 30 stocks number, and then we will get the weight to simulate. So that's the weight for 牧原股份. And then we want to drag to the right. So here you need to fix all this part. You press your F4 and we can fix all this part, and then press enter and drag to the right. We will get 30 stocks weight for each one. And then you can press your computer F9. Let's have a look. All this data change directly. So when you press F9 once, it will change once. So different point, we ran different times, and you will get different point on this graph. So that's the weight we simulate based on our computer. So here we know the weight and we know the expected return. So that's the average return. And also we know the variance covariance matrix. Now the next step, we need to calculate our portfolio expected return and portfolio risk. The way to calculate portfolio expected return, we type it here. So below the expected return, we type equal. Now let's have a look at the equation here. The equation is equal to the weight multiply the return. So that's the matrix multiply. So in Excel, we have the function called MMULT. So this MMULT, the first M means matrix, and MULT means multiply. So you can use this function to calculate two matrix multiply. And the first array is the first matrix. We selected the weight. So remember, we already calculated the weight here for this 30 stocks. So we select it. And then we need to multiply the return. But remember here in the equation, the return should be n rows and only one column. But let's have a look at our original data. For the data, the return, average return we have is one row and n column. So we need to transpose this original data to this format. So here for the transpose, we just type transpose. So using this function, we can directly change this one row n column to n row one column, and then we close our bracket. Okay, and we ran this function. So for this matrix, random matrix, we need to use Control Shift Enter together. So press Control Shift together, we will get the result. So based on this weight, we have the portfolio expected return equal to 0.1166%. And the second, we need to calculate this portfolio risk. For this portfolio risk, we need, remember, based on this equation, we need the square root. So in Excel, the square root, we can type SQRT. So based SQRT, we can calculate the square root. And then we need to use the matrix multiply. So the first, let's type MMULT, matrix multiply. And the first matrix is weight. So let's select a weight here. And then the next one is our variance covariance matrix. So we select, variance covariance matrix here. Okay, and this MMULT, you only have every one and every two. You won't multiply the other one. So if you want to multiply the other one, here we need to add another MMULT. And we look at this part, the weight multiply the variance covariance matrix as the area 1. And then we type the other one, we multiply this final part. So this final part, the same one, we need to transpose the weight to this part. So we type transpose, and then we select weight. Okay, and we close all the brackets. So don't forget any close bracket, otherwise you won't get the result. And if you finish all all of this, and the same we ran the matrix, you need to press Control Shift Enter together. So we get our risk is 1.744%. So that's based on this weight. So you can, if you plot this portfolio expected return and portfolio risk on your graph, definitely you will have 1 point here or any point. I don't know where is it. How can we get all of this one? So if you got all of this one, you need to run at once. So you change once this weight, you get one result, and change another times, you get another point. So definitely for this simulation, maybe we need to run 1,000 times simulation. You will get the result and draw this graph. So how can we do that 1,000 times simulation? You can, let me show you how can we do that. So you won't press F9 and get one result and each one by one. So you will not press F9 and get your result here and write down each one by one. It is time consuming. So how can we do this 1,000 times simulation at the same times? So the first step, you need to write down 1 to 1,000. And then you select all of this. So the same one, you select the top row and press Control Shift Enter and down arrow, and we will get all this 1,000 times simulation. And for this 1,000 times, how can we directly get the result? So the first time we have one return, one risk, and the second times we have a new return and new risk, and we can do it based on the data simulation. And so we click the data here, and then we find here is we called what if analysis, 模拟分析，模拟运算表. So you can click this what if analysis here is the data table. So click this data table, we have this part. For this data table, the row input you can just omit. And for the column input cell here, so the column we have 1, 2, and 2, 1,000. So here you select any blank cell. Any blank cell is okay. And then you click OK. Now let's have a look. We have the result for all this simulation for 1,000 times. So after that, you can just press F9. You will see all the data will change directly. So sometimes the simulation is a little bit time consuming, and when you finish all this part, we can directly delete that. Otherwise, it will make some problem for the future calculation for the solver. So when you get all the results, you can draw this graph. So for the drawing this graph, you can just insert one scatter. So we just want to use the scatter here, and then you click scatter. For this part, you can select your data, and for this data part, we just use the remove it, so we can add it. So for the X part, we can select all the risk. So remember on your market with portfolio theory, X-axis is your portfolio risk. So you select all the risk, this column. And for the Y part, we select all the portfolio expected return. So you can select this part and then you click OK, and you will get the result is quite similar as mine. So you can doing any change for the x-axis or y-axis, so you will get a better graph here. So I don't have enough time to show you how to draw this graph. So if you want to learn more, you can learn that course from my website. And then this is your opportunity set. So let's have a look. This opportunity set is based on different weight. We have the different point here. And it cannot tell you this point is better and this point is worse, because based on our theory, only the portfolio on your efficient frontier, that's the best one you need to invest on the efficient frontier. So the next step I will show you, based on this opportunity set, how can we draw our efficient frontier? So you can click the next spreadsheet, which called efficient frontier.